In the path of bhakti, the people get worried about the goddesses getting displeased with them, doing something. And then there's also the idea of God is pleased with you or not pleased with you. Would he have, what kind of feelings will he have about who, for what reason? What do you think about that? Some people think, oh, Baba doesn't love me. He says, I love everybody, but sometimes you block the love coming to you. So this murli is about how to please God. That's quite useful to know, right? You already know. But he spells it out. This is murli is originally from 23rd November 1989. And it is entitled The Easy Way to Please the Bestower of Blessings. So as you know, God has many names, many titles. So there are 3, and you can churn on these, because the thing with meditation is you have to have something different to churn about every day, and there's a lot of days in life. So you need a lot of things to think about. Very good. So think of these words. If you don't know Hindi, I'll give you some 3 Hindi words. You don't need very many Hindi words, but the titles of God are good to have, and the titles of yourself also. So he is Data, and Vardata, and Bhagyavidata. You can spell it any way you want. So Data is the giver, and Vardata, the giver of blessings, and Bhagyavidata, the maker of fortune. And you probably know this word Bhagwan because it's practically an English word already. Bhagwan means the giver of fortune. So Bhagyavidata is another word for the giver of fortune in detail. So everyone wants so many things, right? So we try to get all these things from different sources, right? Somebody should help me in this way, somebody should help me in that way, somebody should look after me like this, and somebody else like that. And in that way, you create a bunch of people who will provide you with this and that. Well, he doesn't like that. Because he says relationship means you are interacting with someone who will give you what you don't have. And people don't really like to hear that because they think relationship means your equal give and take. And he says, yes, it definitely should be like that. But when you need something, then the nature of the relationship gets messed up because they don't give you what you want. or they don't fulfill your expectations, or they don't give you quite enough to fill the hole in your soul. Do you have a hole in your soul? If you don't have a hole in your soul, you would be karmatit and dead. So you must have at least a little hole. Because it's a little emptiness, right? So I can call it a hole in your soul. Not that there's enough space to have a hole, but anyway. So he's also talking about this expression, santusht. So santusht, always in English they say content, but for me content is a cat on a cushion. You know, we want more than that. So right. So I prefer fulfillment, and in English literature and philosophy, they take up this word fulfillment as what is your goal in life? You want to be fulfilled. And so, how do you get fulfillment? Right? So, he as being the giver, the bestower of blessings, and the giver of fortune, will make you fulfilled. So, this is about this. And when you are fulfilled, then you don't need anything. And you can't be fulfilled by any accomplishment or any human relationship or any possessions or any name and fame and glory or all that. It won't do it. But from God, when all the channels are open, you do get fulfilled. So this is about keeping all the channels open. And the key to this is that you do not look at any other human being with an expectation that could possibly get not fulfilled. So this is a very useful thing to know, because it's very normal to automatically presume that someone should be like this and they should do this for me and they should treat me like this and all of this. And sooner or later, they don't, usually sooner than later. And so the key to it, which is the theme of this murli, is everything is from God. So this another Hindi word you can remember is ekta. Ik. Not ache as in pain, but ik. So that means one. And of course, one has to do with concentration. So to really work on making God your single source of everything. And he says, yeah, I'm the only one who can do this for you. So, use me. So, Shanti, the easy way to please the bestower of blessings. Today, the Father, the bestower of blessings, is pleased to see his children who are blessed. As in particular, wonderful always says, I'm blessed. You ask her, hello, how are you? I'm blessed. So try and be like that too. I'm blessed. Nothing needed. I have everything. All the children of the Father, the bestower of blessings, are blessed, but they are number wise. So this number wiseness is absolutely connected with expectations and attempting to get something from someone other than God. So this is a key. The bestower of blessings gives aprons full of blessings, mountains full of blessings to all the children. So why is there number wise? Someone had this question, why is number wise? This is why. The bestower of blessings does not make it number wise in giving to everyone, because he has such limitless blessings that since it is an open treasure, go to Fort Knox and there are no doors and no security system. Take ever much gold you want. It's like that. Have big pockets. Because he has such limitless blessings that since it's an open treasure, you can take as much as you want. So in this case, if you have a lot of greed, this is very convenient. You need, yes, more. Imagine you're the emperor of the golden age. Your gigantic palace, the herds of cows and all the things, whatever you need in the golden age, and airplanes, and it's very expensive, right? And 21 births worth of that. So this is the only time you get your income, which will last you all that much time. So if you don't have greed, you will not take enough. And then what? So from such an open treasure, some children become full of all blessings, whereas others become full according to their capacity. It is the form of the innocent Lord, the bestower of blessings. Innocent Lord means, in terms of business, he's naive. You give him a little bit of old junk and he gives you gazillions in exchange. So that's called a naive businessman. But he is called the innocent Lord, Bholanath. So he is Bholanath, the bestower of blessings, who gives aprons full the most. You were told earlier too of the bestower, Data, bestower of fortune, Bhagyavidata, and bestower of blessings, Vardata. So remember these three. And out of these three, it is the form of the bestower of blessings, Vardata, that he is said to be the form of the innocent Lord, because the bestower of blessings is very quickly pleased. Doesn't take much to please God. Once you know the way to please God, it is very easy to achieve success. You know, there is another expression, the Lord is pleased with the honest heart. So that kind of honest, open communication with him. So then it's very easy to achieve success, that is, to have your aprons filled with blessings. Do you know the easiest way to please the bestower of blessings? Whom does he love the most? And some more. He says he loves the word one the most. The word one. So children who have been faithful to one, which is called ekavrata. You can remember this word as well. There's a big dictionary today. Ekavrata means absolute fidelity. You know, in marriage, they expect fidelity, right? Don't usually get it, but that's the idea. So, absolute fidelity, he's a bit particular about that one. And of course, he knows you can't hide anything, not even a dream or a look. Ooh, that one looks good. Up. So the children who have been faithful to one, Ekavrata, from the beginning until now, are deeply loved by the bestower of blessings. To be faithful to one is not just in terms of purity. You know, I'll give you a secret about fidelity, which a lot of people don't know. And what happens is you say, okay, I will have absolute fidelity to God. But how that processes in your intellect without you really realizing is that God will give you the return of that fidelity through the BK family. And then you will get all your expectations of God fulfilled through this BK or that BK or the other BK. And then if they don't, you don't like it. So this is a mistake. Because to get all your needs and desires fulfilled by God means He is above the BK family. Because what is the BK family? It is souls in their 84th birth, with whom you may have quite a little bit of karmic accounts, who are not God, who are no doubt becoming gods and goddesses. We have a little ways to go. And if you unconsciously or subconsciously think that every BK should function like God and give you what you need, you haven't understood the difference between your relationship with God and your relationship with other BKs. That's a very useful thing to know, because otherwise you can get into a state of irritation, disappointment, and other negative emotions, which is not necessary. Just that you assume that someone who is God's instrument is the same as God and has the same duties as God. Actually, they don't. So this is good to know. So to be faithful to one is not just in terms of purity, but in terms of all relationships. It is not to have anyone else in your thoughts or even in your dreams. To be faithful to one means constantly to have just the one in your attitude. Anywhere in the murli where it sees the word, where you see the word attitude, you change that into perception. Because attitude, you can't have anyone in your attitude. It doesn't work in English language. Attitude is a position you take vis-a-vis this or that. But vritti is actually perception. So in your perception, you see him. And then there's other people. But what you're looking at is him. This is to have just one. You have ekavritti and ekavrita. So ekavriti, you perceive only one, and you are faithful to the one, like that. Secondly, you have a vrit. It's a lot of wordplay here in Hindi, which doesn't come out in English. A vrit is a vow, a commitment, a promise, a vrit. So you have made a firm vow of always belonging to one and none other. So vritti, vrata, and vrat, you have to remember those three as well. You can spell it however you want. Vrat is the vow. Vrata is fidelity, and vritti is, there's this expression in bhakti. They say, wherever I look, I see only you. That doesn't make him omnipresent. It means that you perceive him and you're not perceiving others in the sense of with an expectation. Because in that case, you will never be disappointed. And if you're disappointed, it doesn't feel nice, right? So some children are very clever in being faithful to the one. When he says clever, he means tricky. So what kind of tricky BKs? They say to Baba very nice things like, oh, Baba, all the main relationships I have with you, you are my father, my teacher, my Satguru, but I am a bodily being, and so I have to have some friends, and I have to have this one, and that one, and the other one, like this. Tricky BKs. But you can't play tricks on God because he sees through it. So because of being a bodily being, the tricky BK says, because of moving along in the corporeal world, I definitely need corporeal friends for their cooperation, for their service, for their advice in the corporeal form. The Father is incorporeal and subtle and is therefore the service companion. He isn't anything else. In order to celebrate a meeting with the incorporeal and the subtle, you yourself have to be in the incorporeal and subtle stages. So, how do you do that? You've experienced the incorporeal stage, even if it was only a glimpse, right? And you've experienced the subtle stage. And so when you have an experience like that, you can understand Baba let you know what it feels like to be in that stage. And then after that, it's up to you. You have to bring yourself into that stage again and again. That takes energy. That takes focus. That takes attention. Doesn't happen just by itself. So again and again, your normal condition is down. And you have to bring yourself up time and time and time again, because it only stays up for a second or two and roll down again. And this in your mind. And you can know if you're in an incorporeal or subtle stage, if your perception is different. So when you're in an ordinary stage, your perception is gross. You see the gross material world and you feel whatever's going on in it. But you bring yourself up to the subtle or incorporeal stage, then the gross world looks different. You see another dimension along with the material dimension. And there you're connected with Shiv Baba, you're pulling in that energy enough to keep yourself up there. Do you do that? Try that. Baba says you sometimes find it difficult. What that means is you always find it difficult. But keep doing and it'll become a little bit less difficult, but not much. This is called effort. So this is why at that time you need corporeal companions. So what happens when BKs are doing service, Are you active? Talk a lot, run around a lot, do stuff. It brings you down into the corporeal stage. And then you have to try to be efficient, high speed, subtle beings. You try that. What do you do when your head is filled with many things? You need someone to tell these things to. This refers to displeasure. This one did this, that one did that, I don't like this, blah, 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 blah. So your head gets filled up with all this stuff, and then it has a tendency to come out of your mouth. So you need some ears to pour it into. So those souls who are faithful to one do not accumulate such worries that they then have to talk about them. Because if you're faithful to one, say, oh, Baba knows, right? And anyway, all of this is between me and him. And no need to take sorrow from other people's negative karma or suffer for other people's mistakes, right? So easy. So on one hand, you please the Father very much. Say, Baba, it is only you who is always with me. The Father is always with me. He is my companion. And so where does he go at that time? He doesn't go anywhere. Or do you step away or does he step away? You step away. So is he with you every moment for 6 to 8 hours per day? Now, what was your promise? Your promise is you are with him, you will stay with him, you will go back home with him. So he can be with you. Have you seen in those pictures of Krishna, they're all the dancing Krishnas, lots of Krishnas with different gopis, right? So this is the image of this, that you're always with God, not Krishna, but God, and dancing around doing service and whatnot. So all the time. So you promise you are with him, you will stay with him, and you will go back with him. So this promise is firm, is it not? You promise Father Brahma that you will play your part with him throughout the whole cycle. Since you have made such a promise, do you still need a special companion in a physical form? Because people have a tendency to want to be in a couple. And so, because you don't want to be alone, but it's actually quite important to learn how to be alone with God, because this helps you to be free, independent, and then you can come into relationships harmoniously without getting disappointed, irritated, and full of complaints. And so this is useful to know. Bab Dada has everyone's horoscope. What's in your horoscope? In your horoscope, it tells what your challenges are. So he knows what everyone's weak points are. And he knows what everyone's strong points are. Now, in front of the Father, you would say, you alone are my companion. But when any situation arises, you then try to make the Father understand that, well, these things will happen anyway, and you need that much anyway. So Baba says, would you call this being faithful to the one? When you have this moments of insecurity, you look for someone to turn to. This is also breaking that fidelity because he's there. But the key is to bring yourself into the subtle stage, especially at the time of need. Because when you're at a time of need, you need more energy and you tend to pull down more into body consciousness, then you're disconnected. So practice this to stay with him in the time of need. If they are companions, all are companions. All BKs are your companions. And there isn't a special particular companion. So if you have a special particular companion, that means you become emotionally dependent on them. And then they will fail you because they can't handle that requirement. They got enough work to do to look after themselves, right? So this is called being faithful to one. You don't put this on another person. The bestower of blessings loves such children very much. The Father, the bestower of blessings, takes upon himself all responsibilities of such children at every moment. So it's just one thought away. Just connect with him and he's right there and you have what you need. Such blessed souls experience the stage of being full of attainment of blessings at every moment and in every situation. They constantly overcome everything easily and pass with honors. Since the bestower of blessings is ever ready to take all responsibilities, why do you keep the burden of responsibility on yourself? Do you feel any burden of responsibility? The sign of taking a burden of responsibility is when you use the word, I have to. I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do the other. That's like taking a burden. Because you consider it to be your responsibility, you are unable to pass the situation with honors. You pass by being pushed. You need the push of someone's company. In a car, if the battery is flat, you have to push it. I don't know with these new high-tech cars if that will work. Probably not, right? But in the old cars, it was like that. You push it and it starts. So you wouldn't push the car by yourself, too heavy, right? You would need someone to help you push the car. So this is why when you take somebody else's help instead of Baba's help, you are blessed number wise. So the bestower of blessings likes this word ekvrata, faithful to the one. And then there's another very famous expression, ekbal ekbarosa. You know this one? One power and one support. So it is not said the power of one and the support of another. It is remembered as one strength, one power, one support. And then we also have ekmat. You know this word ekmat? One. So it's translated as direction. Mat is direction, but mat is also something like ideology and angle of what is. So, ikmat, you follow the directions of one, not manmat. What is manmat? It's not your own dictates. Be clear about that. You're not that free to have your own dictates. What is manmat? It is that you have taken on board paramat, which is the ideas that you grew up with, and internalized them and made them your own. And they clash with Srimat. And this is what is called manmat. So you do not follow manmat or paramat. Then there is ekras. There's a lot of words here with ek. Ekras. Stable. And constant. So there isn't any interest in any other beings or possessions. Interest means that you look to them for like adding to your status. If you need something, it's different. But if you think something's going to make you a better person by being with you, that's not true. You know, you've got to have name brand clothes. No, you don't. You can have very nice, better ones without the name brand. Cut the brand off and it's still good. So in the same way, ekta, unity. What is unity? It's not the same as uniformity. Many people think ekta means uniformity, unity. We are not, he does call us the underground military, but we're not soldiers in that sense that do everything according to that. No, it's more like harmony. And ekant priya is another word for you. Ekant priya is someone who likes solitude. So it's all this murli is about functioning in the middle of lots of people and still being completely autonomous because all your support is from Baba. So this word ek is loved, isn't it? So find other words too with ek. The Father is so innocent, he becomes pleased with just one thing. Do you find it difficult to please this innocent Lord, the bestower of blessings? Simply make the lesson of one firm. There is no need to go into 5 or 7. Those who please the bestower of blessings are sustained by blessings in every activity of their timetable from Amrit Vela until night time. They move along and fly with these blessings. Such blessed souls never experience anything to be difficult, either in their minds or relationships and connections. In every thought, every second, every action, at every step, they constantly experience the bestower of blessings, and that blessings are constantly close and personally in front of them in the corporeal form. Baba is always right there with you. They experience it as though they are speaking to one another in a corporeal form, you and Baba, like this. They do not experience anything to be hard work. Such blessed souls have attained the special blessing of experiencing the incorporeal and the subtle as though they are in the corporeal form. The Lord is always present in front of such blessed souls. Did you hear the successful way to please the bestower of blessings? Are you able to do this in a second? Bring yourself up to that stage. Simply do not let two become mixed into one. That's all. So there's a difference between being with Baba and being with Baba and someone else. So Baba will tell you the expansion of the lesson of ek, lesson of one, another time. Bapdada knows all the children's activities and their tricky games. Bapdada has all the results. Many things of your trickiness have also accumulated. You tell Baba new things. He continues to hear all these things. Bapdada is not mentioning any names. So you think Bapdada is not aware of anything. Nevertheless, he continues to give you chances. The father thinks the children are truly innocent in having real understanding. So don't be innocent like that. That means ignorant. He uses diplomatic language. Dadi Janki, Dr. Nirmala, and Brother Jagdish returned from their tours abroad. So Baba spoke to those three. You have arrived here having toured abroad. The result is good, and there always has to be expansion in the success of service. There is also the UN connection. So BKs became part of UN in 1981. So this was 8 years on. It increased the connection. So the work is the name of the UN, but it's your work that's getting accomplished. Your work of enabling souls to easily receive the message is happening. So the programs there were also good. And Russia was still left, but they too had to come. So Jagdish Bhai had opened up service in Russia, in Moscow. So Bapdada had already given you love and remembrance for success before they left. You went as the ambassadors of Bharat, and so the name of Bharat was glorified. You enjoyed touring around as rulers of the globe, don't you? You have returned having accumulated so many blessings. Nirmala Ashram, this is his word for Dr. Nirmala, also continues to tour around. In fact, all of you are engrossed in service, but special service takes place according to the time. And so Bob Dada is congratulating you for doing special service. You cannot prevent yourself from doing service all the time. London means Europe, America, Africa, and Australia. You created these 4 zones, haven't you? And the 5th one is Bharat. And those from Bharat have been given the chance of meeting Baba first. Whatever you have accomplished and whatever you do in the future, everything is good and it will always remain good. Today, Bab Dada is giving special love and remembrance to all the double foreigners in all 4 zones. So Russia is also included with Asia. You are getting a good response in service. You have good courage, and so you are receiving help and will continue to receive help. In Bharat too, you are making plans to have a big program. Congratulations and love and remembrance to each one for your individual speciality, your deep love that you have doing service. Baba has told all of you children the easy way to move forward easily and constantly. To the easy yogi children who constantly continue to use this method and attain success easily, to the full and blessed children who constantly have blessings from the bestower of blessings, who always put the lesson of ek, one, into a corporeal form, to those who constantly experience the Lord to be present in a corporeal form, as if corporeal, with the constant company of the incorporeal and subtle fathers, To such constantly blessed children, love, remembrance, and namaste from Bap Dada, the bestower of fortune, the bestower of blessings. Then Baba met Daddy Janki. Said, the more you share the Father's love, the more your treasure store of love continues to increase. It is as though you experience a shower of love at every moment, isn't it? Give love at one step and in return repeatedly receive love. Everyone just wants love. They've all heard knowledge, haven't they? There are those children who want love and others who want power. So what service did you do? This was the service you did. You gave love to some through the Father, and you enabled others to receive power from the Father. You already know the secrets of knowledge. Now there just has to be constant zeal and enthusiasm in them, because this keeps fluctuating. Nevertheless, Bap Dada is patting all the double foreign children on the back, because even though you had gone into different religions, different lands, different customs, you are still continuing here, and even some heirs have emerged. Acha. Now he speaks to Maharashtra and Pune. Pune. Now it's Pune. It used to be Pune. Right? All the Indian cities' names changed. Bengaluru and Mumbai and Delhi, always Delhi. So all of you have become great souls, haven't you? Previously, you used to be called residents of Maharashtra, whereas now you, from Pune, have yourselves become great. You're one group big enough. So the Father has come and made each child great. Is there anyone in the world greater than you? The people of Bharat have fallen the most, and in that too, the Brahmin souls who have been around the cycle have fallen down. So if you're down on the floor, don't be surprised. This is normal. So from the very bottom, you go to the very top. So this is why BKs are extremists. It's like that. So to the extent that you fell down, accordingly, you now have to be uplifted. And this is why it is said that Brahmins are the top knot. So the highest place is the top. The highest point on a mountain is also said to be the peak. And so you have the happiness that whatever you have now become from what you were, it's pretty high. Do the Pandavas have greater happiness, or do the Shaktis? Pandavas means brothers and Shaktis is the sisters. So they said it's the Shaktis. And so he says, it is because the Shaktis were made to fall the lowest. From the Copper Age onwards, it was always those in male bodies who got status. Women were denied anything and everything, right? So in religion too, it is only recently that women have become Mahamandaleshwaris. Otherwise, it was just male Mahamandaleshwars who were remembered. But since the time that the Father put women in front, they have also appointed 2 to 4 female Mandaleshwaris. Otherwise, they never used to give a seat to women in the work of any religion. And this is why women have greater happiness, because they're coming forward. There is also the praise of the Pandavas. The Pandavas gained victory. It is the name of the Pandavas that is mentioned, the victorious ones. But the Shaktis are worshipped more. Previously, they worshipped the Gurus, but now they worship the Shaktis. Nobody stays awake all night remembering Ganesh or Hanuman. Actually, they do in Mumbai. They stay up all night and they make a lot of noise. But for the Shaktis, the goddesses, They stay up all night. And because the Shaktis themselves have now awakened. So you Shaktis stay in your Shakti form, don't you? Are you a Shakti? Or do you sometimes become weak? Attachment to bodily relations makes women weak. How and why? Because you are somebody's something. You're not somebody in your own right. If you're a Shiv Shakti, you're somebody in your own right. Yes? You have a bit of attachment to children and grandchildren, especially grandchildren, right? How many of you have got grandchildren? You give them a little bit more. Oh, I'm my grandchild. However, what makes Pandavas weak? So, because of ego, Pandavas quickly get angry. Is that right? No. Now you have become victorious, haven't you? You have now become Pandavas who are the embodiments of peace, and you mothers have become free from attachment. Getting there. The world says that women have attachment, but you challenge them in that you women are free from attachment. And in fact, Pandavas too are embodiments of peace. So let anyone who comes sings songs of wonder that all of you have become such embodiments of peace that not a trace of anger is visible. Let it not even appear in your eyes and your features. Some people say they don't get angry, but they get heated now and then. So what's that? That's a trace of anger. So to be victorious Pandavas means to be completely peaceful, even in your thoughts, embodiments of peace in your words and actions. Mothers, show the whole world your form of being free from attachment. People think this is impossible, whereas you say not only it's possible, but it's also very easy. Keep this aim, and you will develop the qualifications for it. As is your awareness, so your stage will be accordingly. This land has received the water of love from the mother and father, and this is why the fruit is emerging easily. It is good. Bapdada is pleased to see both service and self-progress, not just seeing service, but let there be as much progress in self-progress as there is in service. Let the two be together. There are no desires. When you automatically receive everything you want, you don't need to have any desires. Without saying anything, without asking for anything, you have received so much. There's no need to ask for anything. So are you content to this extent? Keep this title of yours in your awareness. You are content, and you will make everyone content and make them into embodiments of attainment. So stay content, that means fulfilled, and make others also fulfilled. This is your special blessing. Let there be no name or trace of discontent. And now Gujarat. How many from Gujarat here? And a few upstairs also. Because this is the last birth in Brahman life, no matter how weak or ill you are physically, whether you can continue to move along or not, you have been given wings with which to fly with your mind. You may not be able to move along physically, but you can fly with your mind, can't you? Bapdada knows that by wandering for 63 births, you became weak and your body became tamoguni. So you have become weak and ill. Are you weak and ill? Very good. But everyone's mind is healthy. You may not be healthy physically, but none of you is ill in your mind. Everyone's mind can fly with wings. The sign of a powerful mind is to be able to go where you want in a second. Are you so powerful, or do you sometimes feel weak? When you know how to fly with your mind and you have developed that practice, you can go wherever you want in a second. You have the speed to be 1 minute in the corporeal world and 1 minute, the next minute in, not even minute, second, in Paramdam, the supreme abode. Do you have such fast speed? Constantly sing songs of your fortune and continue to fly. At Amrit Vela, always keep something about your fortune in your awareness. You have received many types of fortune, many types of attainment. Sometimes keep one type of attainment and another time another type of attainment, and your efforts will be very enjoyable. You will never feel bored in your effort making, and you will experience newness. Otherwise, some children say, I am a soul, I am Shiv Baba's child. I always say that. That's all. That's boring, right? You have to be, I am Shiv Shakti, I am, 1,000 other things. So, what fortune has the Father given me? What titles has He given me? Trilokinath, Swadarshan Chakradhari, Dilruba, so many things. What titles has He given me? What treasures has He given me? Keep all these different types of awareness in your mind. Make a list. The list of awareness is so long. Sometimes keep your treasures in your awareness. Sometimes keep your powers in your awareness. Sometimes keep the virtues. Sometimes the lines of knowledge. And sometimes the titles. Variety is always entertaining. Whenever you have an entertainment program, there will be a variety of dances, a variety of food, and you will meet a variety of people. This is why it's entertaining. So here too, always think of a variety of things to keep yourself entertained. The blessing, may you be powerful and use your catching power to catch your original sanskaras and become that form. The main basis of effort is catching power. Science is able to catch sound a lot in advance. In the same way, use your silence power to catch your original divine sanskaras. For this, constantly have the awareness, I was that, and I am becoming that. The more you catch those sanskaras, the more you will become that form. The things of 5,000 years ago will be experienced so clearly that it will be as though it is a matter of yesterday. Only when you make your awareness that elevated and clear will you become powerful. And the slogan, the breath of Brahman life is happiness. Even if you leave your body, don't leave your happiness. Om Shanti.
तेरे वतन की याद ने दुनिया को भुला दिया, हमें प्यार में समा लिया है, पास में बुला लिया है, पास में बुला लिया। तेरे वतन की याद ने दुनिया को भुला दिया।